Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cleveland Browns franchise. Today the offseason begins as we do the season recap, awards, and playoff simulation episode. First, let's upgrade our players. And first up, we have to re-sign our staff. And Mike Pettin's contract is still there. We'll keep him around. Looking at him, there's really no reason to fire him. Aaron Grant was there. He seems okay. Sion Lingard, I'm not going to renew his contract. We're going to get someone else. He was a bad trainer. So we're going to be getting someone new. And he wanted an offer, but there was no way I was paying him that much. And we really didn't need to fire Mike Pettin. We went 8-8. And Aaron Grant seemed to do decent. Sion Lingard is level 27, but we really don't need him because he has bad regression. I want to get someone who's really good. So, looking at staff, when we went to staff again, we looked at coaches, scouts, and trainers. There really wasn't anything sticking out. I just wanted to make sure that Lingard was a trainer so that we knew who to sign later. So, let's take a look at the playoff schedule. And this wild card weekend will be the Bengals at the Steelers, the Cowboys at the Seahawks, the Patriots at the Broncos, and the 49ers at the Redskins. So going out of that, that's going to be your wild card weekend slate. And let's go take a and I'm not sure what I did there. My owner, we were just scrolling around, going back, and and we're going to simulate forward towards the next week. And now, here we are at the divisional round. Let's go take a look at the 4 games. I'm going to go through these stats pretty quickly, so if there's something you really want to see, just pause the video. First up, Bengals at the Steelers. And we looked at this for a minute, as you can see. And now we're going to go take a look at these. Ben Roethlisberger and Andy Dalton were the only 2 QBs with any passing yards in this game. Running the ball, Le'Veon Bell had 14 carries for 90 yards. Bernard with 17 for 79. D'Angelo Williams with 10 for 41 and a touchdown. Dalton made the list, and so did Sean Green. Receiving, Antonio Brown, 8 catches for 133 yards. Marvin Jones with 7 for 124. Heath Miller with 7 for 86. Wheaton, Sanu, Coates, Bryant, and Bernard making the list as well. Defense, let's look at tackles. Raymel Lugo leading the way with 13. Iloka with 11. Jones with 10. Timmons with 9. And a bunch of players with 8 and 9 tackles. Sacks, P.J. Dawson with 1, Moats with 1, Joe Krieger with 1, Steve McClendon with 1, and interceptions, P.J. Dawson with 1, Leon Hall with 1, and Antoine Blake with 1. So now let's go take a look at the next game, which was Cowboys versus Seahawks. So taking a look at this, Tony Romo had 463 yards passing on the day and 4 touchdowns. Russell Wilson had 436 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Marshawn Lynch had 20 carries for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. Randall with 15 for 71. Wilson with 12 for 52. Turbin with 7 for 23. Dunbar with 5 for 21 and a touchdown. Receiving, Dez Bryant, 11 catches, 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jermaine Kearse with 5 for 169 and 2 touchdowns. Graham with 9 for 107. Looking at defense, total tackles, Wagner leading the way with 17, Wilcox with 13, Byron Jones with 12, Shed with 11, so did Church. And now let's go take a look at sacks. Michael Bennett with a sack and a half, Crawford with 1, Hill with 1, Dobbs with 1, Gregory with 1, and half a sack for a few players. Now let's go take a look at the interception list. Wilcox and Carr each had 1. So now taking a look at the next game, Patriots at Broncos. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, it continues to live on. Peyton Manning at 334 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Brady with 271 yards and 3 touchdowns. C.J. Anderson running the ball, 17 for 65 and a touchdown. Daniel Thomas with 15 for 55. Monte Ball with 10 for 33. Brandon Bolden with 5 for 14. Manning with 3 for 9. Receiving, Thomas with 9 for 144 and 4 touchdowns. Owen Daniels with 8 for 108. LaFell with 8 for 107. Sanders with 6 for 82. Gronkowski with 5 for 60. Dobson, Latimer, and Bolden making the list. Defense, total tackles, Craig Robertson leading the way, the preseason Brown with 18 tackles at middle linebacker. Great to see him work out for the Patriots. McCourty with 10, Danny Trevathan with 8, Malcolm Butler with 8, Stewart with 8, Fletcher with 7, Harris Jr. But Craig Robertson leading the way with 18 tackles. half a sack for a bunch of players. Sylvester Williams, Derek Wolfe, Trevathan, and Stewart making that list. Interceptions, Craig Robertson had a monster game, another pick. And now with the final game, that was the 49ers at the Redskins, which the 49ers prevailed 34-20. So taking a look at the player stats, Colin Kaepernick had 200, or Colt McCoy with 300 yards passing and 2 interceptions. Colin Kaepernick with 216 for 2 touchdowns. Niall Davis with 27 carries for 116 yards. Morris with 17 for 94. Red with 14 for 49. Kaepernick with 10 for 33. Receiving, Anquan Bolden with 6 for 114 and a touchdown. Garcon with 5 for 88. Roberts with 7 for 79. Rams Barden with 5 for 47. Jordan Reed with 3 for 36. Torrey Smith with 3 for 33. Niall Davis with 3 for 32. Defense, total tackles. Philip Wheeler leading the way with 12. Buffet with 11. Desmond Bishop 10, 9. And then a bunch of players with 7 tackles. Sacks, Alden Smith with 3. Terrence Knighton with 2. Perry Riley with 1. Carrigan and Lynch all with 1. And then DJ Moore with DJ Moore and Ian Williams each with half a sack. Antoine Bethea with an interception and Dante Johnson with an interception. So, looking at the final slate, and now we're going to go take a look at some of the... No, what are we going to do? We are going to go ahead and sim forward. What are we going to do? I feel like we're going to sim ahead to the next one. And looking at it, no, we're going to take a look at the news. No, we're not. I'm not sure what I did around here. Yes, we are going to sim toward to the conference championship, and I'll see you there. Now we're going to take a look, and let's hire some staff. We need to get a trainer now. And looking at it, I need trainers. Dan Winters, a lot of people were bidding on him. Nick Garrett below him seemed interesting, and no one was bidding on him. He had world-class regression. So we were going to pick him up, and we made an offer, and we'll see if he accepts it. He's a good trainer, and I want him on our staff to provide the best possible experience for our players. Looking at the... Let's go take a look at the... I feel like we're going to take a look at the playoff schedule. So taking a look at that, the Broncos beat the Dolphins, or did the I can't tell. I feel like the Broncos beat the Dolphins, yeah, judging by the stats. Peyton Manning had 329 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tannehill with 206 yards and a touchdown. Running the ball, C.J. Anderson, 17 carries for 99 yards. Monty Ball, Ajayi making the list as well. Jarvis Landry, 5 for 110. Latimer with 5 for 87. And as we go down the list, I'm going to go through these really fast, because there really wasn't much to see here. Rashad Jones, Jenkins, Spikes all on the list for tackles. Looking at sacks, 2 for Sylvester Williams. Interceptions, there were no interceptions in this game. And scrolling down to the 49ers at the Saints. San Francisco won this game, it appears, based on the stats. Well, I'm not sure who won. I'm not sure. I can't read because I use this smaller screen to edit and stuff, and it makes it a lot harder to figure out what's happening. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. Maybe that'll be better. Going down the list, we're at receiving yards now as we scroll down. Nothing really sticking out here. Looking at tackles, David Hawthorne with 14. No one with over 10 otherwise. And going up the list, looking at sacks, Smith and Lynch with a sack. And then as we go into interceptions, no interceptions on the game. And now we're going to take a look at the Steelers at the Titans. And looking at it, the Titans prevailed. But it looks like they didn't have the better team. We're looking at running the ball. Dexter McCluster with 27 for 110 and a touchdown. Bell made the list of 12 for 81. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, our division foe, are vanquished from the playoffs. That's great to see. Even though the Cleveland Browns haven't made the playoffs in forever, they love seeing their division opponents being eliminated because we do not like them. So looking at tackles, Thomas with 11 and Moats with 10, and then we start to see the tackle numbers go down. QB sacks, 1 sack for Arakpo and 1 for Joe Kruger. And no, we still need to check out the interception stats. 1 for McCourty and 1 for Antoine Blake. Looking at the 4th game, Seahawks at the Vikings, which the Seahawks won 35-28. And looking at it, Russell Wilson at 189 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Marshawn Lynch, 16 carries for 93 yards. Peterson with 14 for 62. Turbin with 15 for 56. Wilson, Michael on the list as well. Receiving, Mike Wallace with 5 for 97 and a touchdown. Doug Baldwin with 5 for Adrian Peterson. Jarius Wright, Kyle Rudolph making the list as well. Looking at defense, tackles, 12 for Harrison Smith, 11 for Rhodes. Everyone else had below 8 tackles. Looking at sacks, half a sack for Chancellor and half a sack for Jordan Hill. Looking at interceptions, 1 for Bobby Wagner. So now in the NFC Championship game, you have the 49ers at the Seahawks, a rematch of 2013. And in the AFC, it is the Broncos at the Titans. So, let's look at season stats now. Johnny Manziel had 3,239 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 27 interceptions. Isaiah Crowell had 222 carries for 955 yards and 7 touchdowns. Duke Johnson Jr. had 43 for 178 and 2. Terrence West had 10 carries for 31 yards. Isaiah Crowell had 7 rushing touchdowns. Duke Johnson with 2. Thad Lewis with 1. And Johnny Manziel with 1. Receiving the ball, Josh Gordon had 57 catches. Gary Barnes leading the way, 59 catches. And receiving yards, Josh Gordon had 830. And then start to go down. Receiving touchdowns, Hawkins leading the way. Blocking, let's look at who had the most pancakes. Joel Bitonio and Joe Thomas leading the way with 8. Alex Mack with 7, and no one else had above 5. Sacks allowed, Trueblood allowed 5. That's to be expected. He was a free agent right tackle we picked up. Carlos Dansby leading the way with 106 tackles. No one else had over 90. QB sacks, Bill Taylor, John Hughes, Danny Shelton, Joe Kruger, going down the list. And interceptions, 6 for Gibson, 4 for Joe Hayden, 4 for Dansby. Or 2 for Dansby, actually. Pass deflections, Dante Whitner with 5. Forced fumbles. We did not force a fumble this season. I'll have to work on that slider. CPU should fumble sometimes, I believe. I think that's only fair. So, going down the list, Kerry Spear, long field goal was 50, and he had a 76% field goal rate. Andy Lee had 1,180 yards punting on the season. Now let's go take a look at the full NFL stats. And looking at it, Matt Moore definitely did not win anything. Sure, he had a 76 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, 5,366 yards passing, leading the way. Ben Roethlisberger with 39 touchdowns, leading the way. Interceptions, Johnny Manziel threw the most interceptions. Go figure. Longest pass belonged to Kellen Moore for 95. Jameis Winston was sacked 69 times. Most pass completions. And looking at running the ball, let's go take a look at the leading rushers. And Marshawn Lynch with 1,647 yards. Rushing touchdowns went to James Starks with 17. James Starks also had the most fumbles, though. Broken tackles, Stewart with 63. And yards of 20 or more, Jamal Charles leading that category. Receiving, looking at Martavis Bryant. He had the most catches, most yards, and Anquan Bolden with the most receiving touchdowns, tied for Percy Harvin. Blocking, who had the most pancakes? Joe Staley with 11, Cordy Glenn with 9, Thomas and Bitonio making the list with 8, along with Trent Williams and Robinson. Sacks allowed, Donovan Smith allowed 33 sacks. Defense, that was probably part of the reason why Jameis Winston was on his butt so much. Darrell Washington leading the way with 180 tackles. Sacks, Ezekiel Ansah with 20.5. Interception, Joseph with 8, Grimes with 7, and a few players with 6, and then plenty of players with 5. Looking at now I believe that we're done with this category. Now we have to go take a look at the yearly awards. Ben Roethlisberger is your NFL MVP. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Brady Mariota, Tannehill, Rivers, Wilson Dalton really backing him up. Looking at the Coach of the Year is Brady Leland, the Saints coach. And these are going to go through pretty fast. If there's anything you're specifically interested in, just pause the video. Roethlisberger is your AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Jamal Charles making the list along with Alex Smith. Lawrence Timmons is your AFC Defensive Player of the Year. Looking Offensive Rookie of the Year, that is Marcus Mariota. Vince Mailey came in at number 3. Duke Johnson Jr. at number 8. We'd love to see that. Defensive Rookie of the Year is P.J. Dawson, I believe. Best quarterback goes to Ben Roethlisberger, Rivers backing him up. Zach Mettenberger made the list. Best running back is C.J. Anderson, Le'Veon Bell backing him up. Isaiah Crowell coming in at number 10. Best wide receiver, Martavis Bryant leading the way. Vince Mailey made the list at number 5. He had a great season. Antonio Brown at 10. Best offensive lineman, Joe Thomas at number 3. And Joel Bitonio at number 6. Best defensive lineman, I don't expect to see anyone here. Best linebacker, nobody there is either. Best defensive back, Tashawn Gibson at number 4. And Joe Hayden dropped off the list. Best kicker, there is no way Kerry Spears on this list. I will probably have a heart attack if that happens. NFC Offensive Player of the Year is Aaron Rodgers. I'll go through these really quickly. Defensive Player of the Year is David Hawthorne for the Saints. Offensive Rookie is Jameis Winston for Tampa Bay. Defensive Rookie is Trey Waynes for the Minnesota Vikings. Best Quarterback is Aaron Rodgers for the Green Bay Packers. Best Running Back is Marshawn Lynch in the Seahawks. Best Wide Receiver is Calvin Johnson for the Detroit Lions. Best Offensive Lineman is Zach Martin for the Cowboys. Best Defensive Lineman is Ezekiel Ansah for the Lions. David Hawthorne is your Best Linebacker of the Year with the Saints. Best Defensive Back, Tyrann Mathieu for the Cardinals. Best Kicker is Graham Gano for the Panthers. So that's going to do it for the awards. And with that, now we got to go take a look at the Pro Bowl rosters. We're going to go do that in a minute. Yeah, we're going to sim forward to the Pro Bowl rosters. And I'll see you there. As you can see, Nick Garrett has accepted our contract. 3 years for $90,000. We have a world-class trainer. Let's go take a look at the games. The Conference Championship games. In the AFC Championship game, the Titans won. They are headed to Super Bowl 50 in an unexpected turn. I don't think anyone expected the Titans to make the Super Bowl. Looking at receiving yards, that was Kendall Wright leading the way blocking. Jamon Meredith with 2 and Levitre with 1. Tackles, Lamin Barrow leading the way with 13. Looking at sacks in a minute. We go over to sacks. Von Miller with 2. And interceptions. There were no interceptions thrown. Looking at the 49ers at the Seahawks. And the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. So it'll be the 49ers and the Titans, 2 unexpected teams in Super Bowl 50. Looking at running the ball. Niall Davis, 29 carries for 109 yards. And receiving, Doug Baldwin, 4 for 70. Jermaine Kearse on the list, so was Niall Davis. He had a big day. Blocking, Brandon Thomas with 2 and Joe Staley with 1. Defense, KJ Wright with 10, Bobby Wagner with 1, and Lane made the list as well. Kicking, Stephen Hauschka was 2 of 2. Bill Dawson was 1 of 1. And we still need to check out sacks and picks. Looking at sacks, Jordan Hill with 2, Averill with 1. Lynch with 1, and Gerard Eddy with 1. DJ Moore had 1 interception. That was the only one. So, in the Super Bowl is the 49ers and the Titans. Looking at the Pro Bowl rosters, going down, I don't expect to see Manziel on here. Looking at halfbacks, kind of disappointing. Crowell didn't make it. But Jackie Battle made the Pro Bowl at fullback. That was great. He deserved to be in that Pro Bowl. Going down the list, wide receiver, I don't expect to see anybody here. Vince Mailey made the list at a 77 overall. He must have been doing nuts out there. Looking at left tackle, Joe Thomas makes the Pro Bowl on Marshall Faulk's team. Looking at left guard, and scrolling down the list at right tackle, and at left end, I thought that was Calvin Johnson. Whoops. Defensive tackle, I don't think we had any defensive players make the Pro Bowl. I was kind of disappointed. Tashawn Gibson had 5 picks and tons of tackles. I wanted to see him there, but he did not make it. Tyrann Mathieu made the Pro Bowl, so did Calvin Pryor. And scrolling down the list, Catanzaro and Billy Cundiff are your kickers. Tress Way and Matt McBride are your punters. And that was it. Now we're going to scroll back up to top. I feel like I missed one. I think that Joel Bitonio made the Pro Bowl at left guard, but I might have missed him. I'm not sure. And that should basically wrap up. Or I feel like we're gonna do one more thing, and that should basically wrap up this video. And now we're gonna go take a look at the Super Bowl, and we're gonna wrap up this video in a minute. But first, we want to simulate forward to the Super Bowl, and we're gonna look at this. And the 49ers and Titans are in the Super Bowl. Now let's go take them, and that's pretty much gonna do this for this video. We'll pick up next time in the off-season video. Thank you all for watching. The free agency period is next, and goodbye.